money and currency and wealth generation is a triggering subject, because they think, this guy, like, I find the mind fascinating about money and currency and wealth generation. And I'm saying money and currency because there's a big difference, and some viewers might not know that. This is real money, silver, gold.
Yeah.
Currency is what you have in your wallet, like paper currency and stuff like that. So like, it can be triggering for a lot of people because, one, they didn't have enough of it, or two, they just don't understand the value of it, and value is what we place on it.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel, and also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. Then I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome back to the Empowering Family Health Podcast. I am really excited about the topic we're going to be talking about this evening, because it is something that touches everybody, I'm sure, all the listeners or viewers on today's show. We're going to be talking all about money, finances. We're going to be talking about the pain that people are finding themselves in. I think a lot of people, even grown up, have issues around money beliefs, all this kind of thing, and it really comes into everybody's world when it comes to living and having a healthy, happy life. And an awful lot about money is really mindset, I suppose, and we're going to talk all about that this evening. And I mean, it's a very, very big topic, and it can be quite controversial at times. People have very different mixed views about it, but really at the end of the day, it's something that will resonate with everybody. And I think a lot of people would like to have more money. Some people say they'd like to have enough just to pay bills. Some people want more. We're going to talk all about that and how people think about money. So my guest today is Karl Davidson. Karl, say hello. You're very welcome to the podcast.
Hey, everyone. Great to be on this podcast. Can't wait to add a bit of value to people's lives.
Love it, love it, love it. So before we dive in, Karl, I'm just going to read out your bio. Nice. So this is Karl's amazing bio, and you will really get the experience that Karl has and why he is so passionate about this area, and he is so good at it as well. So Karl has 11 years experience as a professional semiconductor engineer. You're probably wondering what the hell that is, but we'll talk about that. And he's worked in places such as USA, Germany, the Netherlands, Japan, China, and Taiwan. He's been all over the world. And Karl helps his clients get more financially educated through many of his courses. And he is a precious metals investor, investing in gold and silver. Wow, we'll talk all about that too. And he's been investing in that since 2018. And he is an international property investor. He's a qualified NLP master practitioner, and he runs a Facebook called Cashflow Club Ireland, that's a tongue twister, with over 3,000 members. And he also has an Instagram page with 6,000 followers. So he must be doing something right. And he's also soon to be an author, writing a book at the moment. He is a loving husband, very important, and to his wife, Brona, who I also know very well. And he is a doting father to his newly born daughter, Bronat. Is that, how did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Brona.
Oh, wow, gorgeous. Karl, you're very welcome to the podcast. It's so great. And it's such an important topic, you know, when it comes to money and finances. But before we dive in, will you just give us a little background of your story and why you're in this whole area and what you got to see as a result of that, which has caused you to do the work that you're doing today?
Absolutely. Well, listen, Joanne, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. Really appreciate it. Blessed. As soon as you asked me, I was like, yeah, cool. You know, sign me up on this. You know, I know that I can, you know, share a lot of value to people. And, you know, I'm going to start off a little bit serious. You know, when I was growing up, you know, just like a lot of people, we were all programmed, you
Yes.
know, majority of people were programmed, and we have this belief system about money, and money doesn't grow on trees, and you know, our parents made the money and stuff like that. And you know, when I was young, my mom and dad divorced, and so I came kind of from a broken family. And you know, when I was 10 years of age, I kind of said to myself, well, you know, there was all this kind of divorce papers and stuff. I won't get too much into it because I respect the privacy of my mother and father. But yeah, for me, when I was 10, I was like, right, I need money. I like, you know, I see my mom struggling and stuff like that, and I was like, you know, I need money. So what I did was I started a paper route around my estate, and I was delivering 200 papers. The Kildare Times, hopefully they're still in business. You know, the way newspapers are now, everything's gone digital. But you know, I was getting 200 papers for £5 back then. You know, that's showing my age a little bit, and I'm still quite young. And then, you know, I started, you know, saving up my money. I didn't know what to do, and I started opening up different bank accounts, and I thought, well, if I put a bit of money into each bank account, well, maybe there might be a little bit of interest at the end. And, you know, I kind of thought about that different streams of income at a young age, but I didn't really label it as that. I just thought, I'll put my money into different banks. Then when I was 16, legally, I started a normal job. You know, when I say normal, I mean like I was a waiter I was working in the K Club, and I was working there for about 4 years. During my college years as well. And you know, everyone had this, a lot of people when they go to college, they have this college life of, you know, the parties and stuff like that. I didn't. I was, you know, in my first and second year, I had, you know, one day a week where it was a 12-hour day, and then at the weekends I was working Fridays and Saturdays and the odd Sunday. So then after that, I packed in the waiter job, and I got one of those career jobs. And about 5 years into that, you know, after traveling around the world and working on, you know, $150 million machines in different factories around the world, I was kind of like a little bit lost. I had lots of money. I had lots of, you know, free time. I was going on holidays and stuff, but I was lacking a bit of a purpose, or, you know, I didn't have much fulfillment, and I wasn't content in my life. Then I met a girl online who turned out now to be my wife. She introduced me to this book. So for any of the listeners, I'm holding up a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and you know, that really changed my whole kind of perspective on money and wealth and investing and business and stuff like that. And I took immediate action after that. You know, and I didn't really sit. You know, I was like, you know what, I'm taking action straight away, and I started an online marketing business, and you know, that went very well for a couple of years. And then I was like, right, well, let's pivot a little bit. And then I started kind of delving way more into financial education. Like, you know, I'm connected with a lot of people that are big into, you know, personal development and self-development. And they're listening to the motivational books and stuff like that. And that's great. But I kind of pivoted. I kind of, like, with my engineering background, I was kind of obviously, you know, drawn to the numbers and to the, you know, and I've been around so many different people. I've lived in communist countries. I've lived in capitalist countries. I've lived in socialist countries. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, everyone needs money, you know, whether you believe it or not. That's just a belief system. And it was really interesting. So I started kind of saying, right, well, if I can help more people, you know, educate themselves, then that to me is fulfilling. You know, that to me is content. You know, I'm helping people with the knowledge that I have, with the mentors that I have, and you know, I'm giving back to so many people. And I'm, you know, because I don't have a scarcity mindset. I have an abundant mindset. So
and that's not very common. Sure, like it's not very common, and it sounds like I love that story because it's so different. You know, because you're so right. We were so conditioned when we're young, and like that, you were in that environment with your mother and father, and you seen the bills coming in, you know, with all the paperwork and all that thing that goes on with that, and straight away you had this thing about maybe a fear, we can call it fear of not having done your paper run from a young age. And what I can really hear, what I love is, it's like you learned how to work the money because you had that mechanical mind. So you learned how to work the money, and that's how you grew your money. You worked the money, basically. Do you know what I mean? So you knew how to. It was a different kind of a mindset. Whereas you know, people accumulate money, and then you hear people hoarding money, which is the wrong thing to do, right? And you know, trying to save it for a rainy day, and like we'll get into all of that. But yeah, your mechanical background seemed to serve you as well in many respects.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you know, a lot of people, what they fail to understand is they don't use their job as their biggest investor into their investing strategy or into their business. You know, if you're in a job, like, yeah, work your job, like do well in your job. If you don't like your job, leave, get another job or something like that, you know. But if you want to invest, like use a portion of your money from the job that you're getting into investing, like, you know, and I'm not saying the usual, like, you know, pension and stuff like that. I'm talking about different investments, whether that's cryptocurrency, whether that's stocks, shares, whether that's gold, silver, you know, online businesses, you know, or e-commerce, you know, use that money, like, you know, but you have to be a little bit disciplined as well, Joanne. And that's where people struggle as well. You know, we're not taught, we're taught, like our brain is hardwired into protecting ourselves and taking the easy and shortcut, you know. So, you know, if you know, one of my mentors, Les Brown, who I got mentored by in 2020, he said, he's unbelievable. Like,
I'm hungry.
That's it. Yeah. He said, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. So if you go through the rejection, whether it's business, if you go through the losing of money in investing, like, I mean, someone recently said to me, like I lost X amount of money and all. And I was like, well, you didn't lose it. It was a learning, you know. And if you're saying that you want to be a big investor and a big business person, then you have to remember that billionaires lose millions every day. Billionaires lose thousands every day. If you're going to worry about a couple of hundred or a couple of grand, like, you know, get over this emotional kind of attachment and use that.
I can hear people holding their breath now. Saying that.
And that's another thing. Like, Joanne, money and currency and wealth generation is a triggering subject, because they think, this guy, like, you know, and it's so interesting. I find the mind fascinating about money and currency and wealth generation. And I'm saying money and currency because there's a big difference, and some viewers might not know that, you know, this is real money, you know, silver, you know, gold.
Yeah.
You know, currency is what you have in your wallet, like paper currency and stuff like that. So, you know, like it can be triggering for a lot of people because, one, they didn't have enough of it, or two, they just don't understand the value of it, you know, and value is what we place on it, you know. So anyway, yeah, I kind of went off topic there a little bit, Joanne.
It's brilliant because, you know, money is like one of our needs, right? And it's like a safety thing. It's like right there down at the very bottom of Maslow's triangle of hierarchy of needs, right? And when we feel that we have money, then we feel safe and secure. Where did this come from, Karl? I mean, you know, there's so many ways. Like back in the day when we were, you know, farmers and all the rest, we used to trade food as currency. Currency is an energy that, like, when we talk about currency, electricity, it's an energy, and it's the same with money. It's currency.
That's it. It's a current, you know, it's an exchange of energy for a service or product, or, you know, whatever it is, you know. And, you know, it's really interesting, you know, just to get back to what you said about the fear and stuff like that. And that was something that really kind of, I was running away from pain, you know, when it came to, like, you know, getting up money and getting a job and saving and stuff like that. And it really hit me because it was 25 when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And, you know, it was about 26, 27. I was in Bali, Indonesia at a personal development event with a couple from New Zealand, and they were phenomenal. They were the facilitators of this event. And through the event, I realized that I was super anxious about money. And I was like, well, I know that has stemmed from my past. And I was like, well, what am I going to do about it? You know, what am I going to do about, like, the anxiety? Well, I have to double down in my investing, because if the anxiousness came from having, like, depending on one source of income, i.e. a job. And, like, you know, at the end of the day, your job can go from you, you know, at any moment. Like, you know, we're heading into this.
Become sick.
Oh, easily. And, you know, break your leg, and okay, yeah, you might have a bit of sick pay or something like that, but, you know, it's things long term, like, so you have to kind of think outside the box as well, and you have to kind of get a little bit uncomfortable. And
trying to
unlearn what you learned and relearn better.
and there's so many ways that we can make money. I mean, I do affiliates, it's not much, but it depends on how much work you time you put into it, whatever. But there's loads to invest in. There's loads of different ways that we can make money.
Yeah.
But before I want to ask you to touch on a few of those things, including the gold and silver. But first, can you briefly tell us about inflation, because this is something I think a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, so I won't get bogged down into
because you could be an hour talking about it.
I did see that it was changed in Wikipedia there a while ago. Basically the price that you're buying something, if you're let me give you an example. If you're saving money to save, the purchasing power of your currency, or I'm just going to say money because your listeners will understand more if I say money. The purchasing power of your money is dwindling every single day because inflation is eating its purchasing power, and also inflation is a hidden tax as well from these big elitists and stuff like that, which I won't talk about because I could go down that that rabbit hole, but I won't. But just understand is that your €100 that's in your bank this year will probably be worth €8 next year, because you have to remember as well is that with governments that put out numbers about inflations and that inflation is 9% or 10%. I think I just seen that the UK is at 10%. And one of your listeners might correct me if I'm not right, but you have to remember governments have their own agenda, and they want to stay in power, and they don't want to freak out the people either. So they're gonna tweak numbers to suit their agenda as well. So if you really look at the true inflation number, do a shop in your local supermarket, and if you can compare it to what you got maybe 3 years ago. And I remember my mother, she just said to me there, she was buying tin can of sweet corn or something, and she remembers it being something like 49 cents or something like that, and now the tin can of something like 129, and I'm like, that's your real true inflation. Now I know there's going to be economists and all that sort of stuff that are saying, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and it's like, well,
that's a great exercise. That's a great exercise, and it's very empowering as well, Karl, because
absolutely, because
we can find out we have an idea what inflation is. Even this time last year, how much a tin of tuna cost, or chicken is going through the roof, all the meat and all this, and vegetables and chocolate. Oh my God, I went to my local cafe, Insomnia. What a name for a cafe. But anyway, as a sleep person, Insomnia. But I get a mocha. I like getting a mocha, and I just get a little bit of chocolate in it. And the price went up by 50 cents or something. I says, why is it going like that? It's been shooting up the last, 10 cents here and there. It's nearly €5 for me to have a mocha, and I drink about oat milk. And he said the chocolate has gone through the roof.
Here's the thing, Joanne, right? And people don't understand this. In order to have €5 in your back pocket, you actually have to work for €10. If you're an employee, in order to have €5 in your back pocket, you have to work for €10 because a taxman will take about half, right? Mm-hmm. And in order for you to work €10, you could be on, let's say you're on €20 an hour. That's 30 minutes of an hour just for that coffee alone. So when you look at it like that, when you look at the purchasing power of your money, not even looking at inflation, the real price of something, you have the true price, as in the fact that as an employee, in order to have it in your back pocket, you actually have to work for double that. But also you have to look at the time. So now when I'm looking at something, I'm going to show the screen, my phone, right? So that's whatever, €1,000 iPhone. If you're an employee, that could be a month's work. When you understand the true price of something,
when you're working by the time, by the hour, that's what you're talking about. And I had that when I did my massage work, right? And I still do an odd one, like a very, very odd one. I don't do most of my work is not that, but I used to be, until I realized, and I had a young child at the time. Leah was only a little baby at the time. And I found that I needed to work X amount of hours to get X amount of money, right? And I couldn't do that because I had a little baby, right? So I was very limited. So then I decided, well, what can I do, right? That's a very powerful question, isn't it? What can I do, right? Exactly. And I said passive income. passive income. So I created an online course, and then I am now earning my money while I'm asleep in bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
And you know what? When it comes to anxiety, that is, when it comes to financial health, empowering your financial health, when you're making money in your sleep, you sleep soundly.
sure.
Because you're not worrying about bills coming in. You're not worrying about how am I going to pay for this or how am I going to pay for that. You have a system, or you buy into a system, or you create a system that is making money while you sleep. And that's powerful, Now, we're not taught this in school, but that's why you have to be a little bit more open-minded, think outside the box, closed minds don't get fed, as I keep saying, and you have to be a little bit open-minded. It will definitely question your belief system about money. Yeah. But if you really want to get out of the financial kind of rut that you're in, then you'll do whatever you need to do.
I love it. And we are not educated in school. We're not financially educated properly. We're educated in a certain way I believe, to take our power away from us, to leave us powerless, right? That's just what I believe, right? And many people do as well. And there are so many people that are lying awake at night, their head is hitting the pillow, and then all these thoughts and worries, because we're so distracted during the daytime, right? We're not thinking about it as much, and people do worry about it during the day, but whatever about worrying about the day, we're worrying about it more at night, because we're less distracted the minute the head hits the pillow, right? So we're not sleeping at night, so we're stuck in this focusing on what we don't have, focus on the lack, and that's where our energy is going and our focus is going. So I think a really powerful question, coming back to it again, is what can I do? And there is always something. It may not seem easy, or it is simple, but it is not easy for sure. And but I think a very powerful question that you can ask yourself is, what can I do? And you may not have the answer right there and then, but your brain will go off to look for the answer. And if you have the opportunity to listen to this podcast now and what the Karl offers and how Karl works with people, we're going to talk about that now in just a second. But that is such a powerful question you can ask yourself.
100%. And just touching on that, Joanne, I'll give you, a few basic things that you can do. And I'm so surprised when I talk to people that they don't do this. And now I didn't do it until I was getting financially educated. And when I first started it, you want to see when me and Brona were sitting down to do our budget, I was just like, no, because I was a spender. Like, I would be spending €500 on t-shirts and stuff like that. And when I met Brona, she's the one that really educated me. She gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I listened to it in Japan as well. And it was just like when we were sitting down to do our budget, I was like, oh my God, that the money coming in, the money going out. And I think having a budget, as simple as it sounds, is vital. It's like the foundation. You know exactly what's coming in, and you know exactly what's coming out. I have a client, and I basically just saved them 2K alone, €2,000 alone, because I asked him to do his budget, and he found out gaps where his money was just dwindling. And I'm like, there you go, there's €2,000. Now make that work for you. I don't care what you invest in. Invest in gold, silver, invest in stocks, shares, crypto, whatever it is, online marketing, whatever it is, get that money working for you, and then it will compound over time as well, so.
I love, oh my God, compounding, and actually just going back to the budget, there are a lot of people who are afraid to even look at their bank account because they don't want to know, they're avoiding it. But you do have to look at it and go and do and do that exercise and look at where I personally, right, was subscribed to more things that were like €5 here and there, 9 quid, 10 quid a month, right? I cancelled the load of them after saving myself nearly 100 quid a month, right? That's the truth, right? Because I went in and I had to look at where my money was going, and when I didn't have, and it all adds up. But you're talking about compounding money. Talk to us about different ways that people can invest, if they want long-term investment, short-term, quick, give us a few ways.
I think me personally, right, and this is my opinion, and not financial advice either, but at the same time, when you're investing, you do really want to be thinking long-term. Now, yes, there is get rich quick schemes out there like the lotto.
I've never done
it. Where you give your money in quick and you'll get $1 million, but you'll end up.
That's a bit of gambling, really, isn't it?
But at the same time, you really want to be thinking, right? I'm not saying 50 years down the line, but I'm just saying, think about like long term. And what I mean by that is like most people, when they're investing, they're looking at capital gains. They're looking at buying something low, whether it's stock, shares, or whatever it is. Silver's quite low at the moment, and then selling it on when it reaches a higher level and then making a gain on that. What you want to be really looking at as well is cash flow, is like creating a business or properties or something that gives you cash flow. Now you can do both, of course, and sometimes you have to transition from like, let's say, earned income into portfolio income into then passive income. But sometimes you can go from earned into passive as well if you buy into the right system and stuff like that. But, you really do want to be thinking long term. Like, I've got some silver coins here for your listeners that can't see. I'm holding up some silver coins, and, I'm buying to hold because I want to change up my generational lineage.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, Joanne, because most people, they tend to kind of nearly think, week by week, what am I doing on a Friday or Saturday night and all and stuff like that. But I'm thinking about what's my children's.
Because it's getting harder and harder for younger people to buy houses and live even.
And is that on purpose? Probably, and which we won't go down. But, at the end of the day, the middle class is getting squeezed. And what happens then? You become the working poor. And what happens then is that the money is dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until you really have, people think we're advancing, right? And I've worked on the most advanced semiconductor machines in the world. Human civilization right now, in my opinion, is actually going backwards. We're going back to a two-tier society, nearly like the feudal system, where you have your kings and your queens and your big politicians and stuff, and then you have everybody else. There's no middle class. That day of it was the opposite to the Rich Dad Poor Dad was like The Millionaire Next Door. I think it came out a year after. It was like how to invest in the stock market and be a millionaire in the stock market. Well, the stock market's totally manipulated. You've no control about where you put your money into the stock market. Now, I'm not a big stock market fan, but I know people are, and that's great, and they can make a lot of money in it. And but you really want to be on the inside, and that not many people are, unfortunately, and that's how they lose their money, and they're not in alignment with what they're investing as well. That's very powerful. Like when you're in alignment with you, as in when you know yourself and you invest in what you have passion about, and you know that it's in alignment with yourself, boom, the money flows into you. AKA the gold and silver right now for me. Like that was my first big investment, was silver, predominantly silver, because it's an industrial metal. It's used in microchips, it's used in nanochips, it's used in the MacBook that's here. It's one of the best conductors of electricity. Of an electrical engineering background, like I know this. Like, so it's like, right, look at all what the governments are pushing now, that this the climate change and the solar panels and the EVs. Fantastic if you're a silver and gold investor.
Yes, and it's technology is advancing, so it will be needed.
Yeah,
there will be a high demand for it. Yeah. Oh my God, come here, listen. Dear God, I could talk to you for ages on this, and time is flying by. And I know you have a coaching call very soon because you're a very busy man. Karl, before we wrap up, I want to ask you, how do people actually work with you? Like, what kind of, do you do courses? Do you do coaching? How do people actually work with you, Karl?
Yeah, so basically, you follow us on Facebook, we follow us on Instagram as well. Connect with me. I'm very much a people person, so I like connecting with people. And basically the courses that I provide is basically like a financial, it's a financial coach or mentor, whatever you want to call it, but use the analogy of like the personal trainer. The personal trainer helps you. They tell you what to squat. They tell you okay, give me 10 sets, 10 reps. You do the work, but I help you. I help facilitate you. And one thing I don't do is I don't tell, or I don't teach you, what I haven't done personally myself. Yeah, because that's incongruent. I would not say, hey, do this and you'll be a millionaire, because I'm not a millionaire yet.
Yeah.
But connect on social media, where it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and stuff.
What's your handle? What's the handle, Karl?
On Facebook, it's Karl Davidson. Instagram, it's following Karl Davidson. And then if you type into Google or whatever search engine you're using, Cashflow Club Ireland, you'll pop up the Facebook group. request access there. We've a private private community there where, you know, we kind of exchange ideas and stuff like that. And, you know, we open up as well, like, because I think
what's it called? Cashflow Ireland.
Cashflow Club Ireland, yeah.
Cashflow Club Ireland. I'll put all that in the show notes as well, Karl, so people
awesome.
can reach out and connect with you. And yeah, I'd highly recommend people to join that group and just, you know, put your toe in the water there and just, you know, see if you like what Karl is doing, because what I tell you, he knows the stuff. Oh my God. I mean, he's been doing this since he was 12 years of age or whatever, doing the newspaper man, for God's sakes. He's been curious the whole time. So do check him out. And I've been following Karl for a long time and working with him and all that. And the Cashflow quadrant is what you teach a lot about, isn't this whole, that's what's in the rich dad, that's the whole concept, isn't it? The cash flow.
I mean, it's about, like, basically, if you are an employee, right, well, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in a business? Do you want to be in business, or do you want to be an investor? Do you want to have your own business? Do you want to buy into a business system? Do you want properties? You know, so there's a whole plethora.
And you can do a bit of it all. And I think what you're saying, Karl, is it's whatever you're aligned to. Like, there's so much that we can do. And I think that's the most important thing, is what people are aligned to, because you got to enjoy it. Otherwise it would be hard work. And we don't want it to be hard work at the end of the day. So Karl, just to finish up, this is one question I always ask everyone, just to finish up, is this is called Empowering Family Health. So what one empowering thought or idea can you leave our listeners with that will leave them be empowered to take action and to do something about this, about their money situation or their pain and finances?
I think, you know, for me personally, it was knowing that I'm going to be dead soon. You know, I think Steve Jobs said that in one of his speeches at a university. It was like, knowing that you're going to die soon. You don't know when you're going to die. You know, you hope to live until you're 100, 120, whatever, but you don't know. So knowing that I'm going to be dead soon, and I don't know when that is, and hopefully it's a long, long time, like everybody else that's listening to this, you know, that's powerful. That's giving me a bit of goosebumps as well, because, you know, you want to break free of all the fear and all that crap as well.
Time is precious, I hear you saying.
Time is precious, but time is a double-edged sword as well, Joanne. Like, you think you have time, but, you know, there's a lot of listeners that are listening to this that are closer to their death than they are their birth.
Wow. Yeah. What a toss. Yes.
So that's why your time is the most valuable asset. That's why your time is what you want. Like, you want to cherish your time. Yes, you can make money and stuff like that, and you can make a lot of it, and you can have different properties around the world and vaults and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, your time is your most valuable asset.
And your health is valuable as well when you're young, because that's the time to do the work, you know, and then you'll have a portfolio when you're older, and you can enjoy life, because we want to live long and die quick. My friend Hans Parrish, I don't know if you know Hans Parrish, I actually quote him quite a lot on my podcast. Nice. But he says that die young, die quick, and die young. And what he means by that is we want to live to the age of 90 or whatever, but not in pain.
Yes.
Not pain. And you know, pain could be physical, emotional, you know, and emotional can be worrying and not having enough money. And you need to have money to live, you know, to the extent of how you want to live. That's up to you, right? But we do need money at the end of the day. So listen, Karl, is there any last words, or you know?
No, I just want to say a massive thank you for bringing me on, and I really do appreciate the good work that you're doing with all the sleep and you know how powerful that is, and people really do need to, you know, acknowledge you and you know, read your books, listen to you as well, because, you know, sleep is important, you know, and as I said as well, and I think you said as well, making money in your sleep, you'll sleep soundly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have said that better, Karl, and thank you for that acknowledgement. I really appreciate it. But yeah, a lot of people are not sleeping well for many, many reasons, and a lot of it is up here in the head, worrying about not having enough of something, be it money, food, heat, whatever. So, you know, a powerful question is, what can I do? And there's so much. Reach out to Karl, have a conversation with him, connect with him in his Facebook group, all of that. So folks, listen, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and Karl, I think we need to get you back on again, because there's a lot
more. Definitely do a part 2.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, because I think we can delve into a little bit more. We just touched the surface today. So listen, Karl, thanks a million for being with me today. Listen, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
All the best. Bye-bye.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue pushing these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off, or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Take care.